we put things together. We make sure it becomes better. It's all about going beyond. We design spaces where you can live your life, enjoying today's modern comforts. And tomorrow's unique luxuries. Your home is in the middle of a neighborhood propelled by progress. At the heart of Bridgetown, the destination estate where the passion for life radiates. Live a life beyond compare in a place that inspires victors. The Valeris Residences. Unrivaled.
The Velaris Residences is a 45-story luxury condominium rising at the heart of Bridgetown in Pasig City. It offers unrivaled distinction in all its masterfully designed units and amenities. A joint venture between international property leader Hong Kong Land and Philippine real estate giant Robinsons Land. We believe it's a powerhouse partnership because we're able to combine the design excellence and innovations that Hong Kong Land is known for with the local real estate expertise of Robinsons Land. Hong Kong Land has had a lot of global success. They have many notable projects in Asia, particularly in Beijing, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Among Hong Kong Land's notable projects in the Philippines are premium properties 1 Rojas Triangle and 2 Rojas Triangle in Makati. And in Cebu, they have Mandani Bay, a premium waterfront development. They're very well known when it comes to design excellence and innovations, and they're very confident as well that they can duplicate their global success here in the Philippines through the Velaris Residences. They really consider the functionality as well as the experience, whether it's going to be memorable or impactful for the resident. And the result is really quite extraordinary. The Velaris Residences has a really good location at really prime spot of Bridgetown. It's rising next to a beautiful bridge that's designed by Manyosa and Company, also a Victor statue and a verdant central park that we feel our residents will really enjoy. It has 3 access points, C5 Road, Amang Rodriguez, and Ortigas Avenue. To find out more about the unrivaled distinction of the Velaris Residences, we'd like to invite everyone to visit our beautiful show gallery in Bridgetown. It's right next to Blue Leaf Cosmopolitan, you won't miss it. Or you can also visit our website, thevelarisresidences.com. We're also present in Instagram and Facebook. Hi everyone, my name is Martha Herrera Subido, Head of Marketing of RHK Land Corporation. Thank you for joining us in our online event, Philippine Real Estate Opportunities in a Post-Pandemic World. This event is brought to you by the Velaris Residences, the unrivaled pilot project of RHK Land Corporation, a joint venture of international property development leader Hong Kong Land and Philippine real estate giant RLC. Today we will hear from Sheila Lobien, CEO of Lobien Realty Group Incorporated, and she will be sharing valuable information and insights on the real estate opportunities in the Philippines. Before Sheila's talk, however, we will share a brief project presentation of the Velaris Residences. The Philippines' luxury property market, long concentrated in traditional business enclaves, is expanding to new geographies, reshaping Metro Manila and its environs. Thanks to years of robust economic growth, new growth corridors have emerged within the city, creating new enclaves of prosperity. The bustling C5 growth corridor, long encircled by some of the country's most exclusive private estates, welcomes an opulent entrance that would, no doubt, hasten the area's gentrification. The Velaris Residences is a 45-story premium condominium development that would definitely redefine the eastern skyline, with its distinctive concrete and glass look, metallic bronze, and rose gold facade. Its iconic look and masterfully designed units and amenities are hallmarks of Hong Kong Land, which brings its unparalleled expertise and global experience to the Velaris Residences. To tell us more about this extraordinary project that is currently reshaping the Philippine luxury market, we have invited Eric Young, Head of Sales of RHK Land Corporation, and RHK Sales Manager Mike Ontenco with RHK's Premier Property Specialist, Camille Lontoc. We will begin with Mike's presentation. Hi, Mike.
Thank you, Martha. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am honored to be invited to this event to do a short presentation on the Velaris Residences. In Metro Manila, one can find many luxury properties in the upmarket environments of Makati City and BGC in Taguig City. But the growing need of the real estate buyers to indulge in high-end realty has pushed the market to expand to bigger, less crowded territories where the high society reside. The Velaris Residences has answered the need of this rising market trend. Rising along the vibrant C5 corridor, it positions itself between exclusive, private developments that have been quietly experiencing robust economic growth in the past decade. Built by RHK Land Corporation, a joint venture of two real estate powerhouses, international property development expert Hong Kong Land and Philippine real estate leader RLC. The Velaris Residences is made for the affluent families, top-level executives, successful businessmen, and the elite members of society. Now, before we discuss the project details, let me provide a short background on the developers behind the powerhouse partnership that created the Velaris Residences. Hong Kong Land is a leading property, investment, management, and development group established in 1889. Hong Kong Land has over 132 years of experience in the real estate industry, with a solid track record for their design excellence and innovation. The group owns and manages luxury offices, retail, and premium residential developments in many cities all over Asia, principally in Hong Kong, Beijing, Singapore, and Jakarta. In the Philippines, their most notable projects are the premium developments, One Rojas Triangle and Two Rojas Triangle. These are considered to be two of the most coveted addresses in Makati City, and they have held their value over time. One Rojas Triangle and Two Rojas Triangle are two of the highest valued condominium projects in Metro Manila today. And in Cebu, Hong Kong Land has the Mandani Bay, a premium waterfront development. Hong Kong Land is also the real estate arm of the Jardine Matheson Group, a British conglomerate established and founded in the 1800s. With almost 2 centuries worth of experience, this Fortune Global 500 company has primary listings in the London Stock Exchange. They also own Jardine Pacific, Dairy Farms, Jardine Motors, Jardine Strategic, and the Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group. RLC, on the other hand, is a real estate giant in the Philippines with around 4 decades of experience. RLC has been developing mixed-use properties from residential communities, office buildings, hotels, and shopping malls. It is also the real estate arm of the JG Summit Holdings, which is one of the biggest conglomerates in the Philippines with business interests in airline, banking, food, hotel, petrochemicals, and power industries. The powerhouse partnership of these two industry leaders brings us the Velaris Residences. The Velaris Residences combines international design with local expertise. It rises along the vibrant C5 corridor near private estates and prominent establishments, from its beautiful facade to its award-winning interiors. It is built to become a beacon of opulence with access points through C5 Road, Ortigas Avenue, and Amang Rodriguez Avenue. It is at the center of Metro Manila and never too far away from any section of the city. We believe that the Velaris Residences is an incomparable investment for those who steward success. The Velaris Residences is located at the prime spot of Bridgetown, an expertly master-planned destination estate that straddles the progressive cities of Pasig City and Quezon City. Within Bridgetown, one will find a constellation of office buildings, commercial centers, residential towers, hotels, schools, and medical institutions, making the district a win for mixed-use urban planning. Bridgetown also puts the Velaris Residences residence near all of its essential of everyday living. It offers establishments that make work-to-life balance and integration easier for its residents. Bridgetown West covers approximately 9 hectares. It is home to the multiple PEZA-accredited office buildings, a world-class and upscale shopping mall with a 5-star hotel and a convention center right above it. Bridgetown East spans approximately 23 hectares. It is where the Valeris Residences will rise, alongside future-ready office buildings, commercial spaces, schools, medical facilities, transport hubs, recreational parks, and spaces. Right across the Velaris Residences is a lush and airy Central Park, which we believe our residents will surely enjoy. The Velaris Residences is also situated near Bridgetown's beautiful bridge designed by Banyosa and Company and a magnificent Victor statue. The 200-meter bridge connects the west and east side of Bridgetown. The area will also have a dedicated footbridge for cyclists and pedestrians. The footbridge directly leads to one of the prized landmarks in the estate, which is the Victor statue, an inspiring monument to society's victors and champions. It will stand proudly at 60 meters tall or 20 stories high. This iconic sculpture is vying to be one of the tallest art installations in the world. Now please allow me to talk a little bit about Bridgetown's outstanding location. Bridgetown's accessibility is a key feature sought by city dwellers who travel around the city a lot. Bridgetown has 3 access points that connect it to 3 major roads in the area: C5 Road, Ortigas Avenue, and Amang Rodriguez Avenue. Through these 3 major thoroughfares, residents get quick access to established business districts of Ortigas Center and Bonifacio Global City. Aside from the central business districts, Bridgetown is also in close proximity to upscale residential communities in the area. The airport is also approximately 11 kilometers away. Bridgetown is also close to several major commercial centers such as Robinson's Galleria, Tiendecitas, Shangri-La Plaza Mall, and many others. There are also several academic institutions within its vicinity, as well, such as Ateneo de Manila University, University of the Philippines, Miriam College, Reedley International School, and CCF International School. Medical institutions like the Medical City and St. Luke's BGC are also within reach. There are also several places of worship within the area, such as Christ the King, CCF, and Iglesia ni Cristo. It is also important to note that the Velaris Residences location stands to benefit heavily from the country's inevitable economic recovery. Sitting right at the country's growth corridors, the Velaris Residences definitely stands to appreciate in value as multiple government infrastructure projects in the vicinity come on stream. Thank you very much. Now, I will be turning over the screen to my co-partner, Camille Lontoc. She will share project details about the Velaris Residences.
Thank you, Mike. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am very excited to tell everyone about the Velaris Residences project features. The Velaris Residences, as my colleagues mentioned earlier, is a 45-story premium condominium rising in Bridgetown, a destination estate located in Pasig City in the Philippines. Hong Kong Land, as the driver for the project's design and branding, was very meticulous in designing every inch of space in the Velaris Residences. The Velaris Residences offers unrivaled distinction in its masterfully designed units and amenities. The Velaris Residences architecture is inspired by the works of Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, one of the pioneers of modernist architecture. The vision for the Velaris Residences is for it to become a residential landmark in the area and one that adapts a unique design philosophy called intentional design. One can say that a home is designed with intent when it is able to place the homeowner at the center of its design. In designing the Velaris Residences, its residents' experience was considered at every stage of the design process. When a condominium is able to provide comfort and ease for all its residents, it has fulfilled the purpose behind its creation. This experience is something that the Velaris Residences delivers to its unit owners. Exclusive lift lobbies used to be just for penthouse owners, but at the Velaris Residences, the luxury of penthouse living is felt all throughout. 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and penthouse unit owners enjoy the benefit of their own private lifts, bringing them straight to their doors. Private lift lobbies also serve as an anteroom for units that have them. It can be an area where shoes, umbrellas, and outdoor essentials are kept, or a disinfection area when accepting deliveries. Allow me to tell you more about our unit offerings. All our units come with premium finishes and fixtures. First, we have 3 types of 1-bedroom suites. Our 1-bedroom executive suites at 46 square meters, our deluxe suite at 52 square meters, our premium suite at 60 square meters. The 1-bedroom premium suite offers a flexi room that can be converted into a space of your choice, a home office, a study area, or a personal gym. Our 2-bedroom suites are all corner units with their very own private lift lobbies. The unit area for this suite is 100.5 square meters with a balcony of 4.5 square meters, bringing it to a total of 105 square meters. The private lift lobby has an additional area of 6.5 square meters on top of your unit's area. The private lift lobby is a limited common area for the exclusive use of the unit owner. The 3-bedroom suite has a total unit area of 156 square meters. The great thing about this unit is its open layout. We are proud to offer suites not only with premium finishes, but also a high ceiling of 3.1 meters, similar to that of all our suites. All of the units come with smart home features and premium finishes and fixtures. We believe that luxury should always be complemented by innovation. Digital solutions have become essentials as the world seeks ways to minimize contact in the new normal. All our units are equipped with smart home features such as smart digital locks with biometric fingerprint scanning, PIN code, and RFID card access for state-of-the-art security. Smart air conditioning and smart lights mean they can be controlled remotely from any smart device. Bigger units will also be provided with smart mirrors, which is essentially a mirror, but when you tap it, it turns into a screen and you can use it to browse the internet, watch YouTube videos, check your health and vitals. All of these features optimize technology for residents' comfort, convenience, and security. Extraordinary amenities also set the Velaris Residences apart from typical city condo developments. Our Japanese onsen is extraordinary. Our residents can take a dip in either the indoor or outdoor hot pools of the Japanese onsen, or in the Olympic-length pool that's set in the middle of the property's garden oasis. Residents who want to work out may go to the lifestyle gym, which has its own yoga room, outdoor yoga deck, and dance studio. Unique and exclusive recreational rooms await future residents, including a Japanese lounge, karaoke room, game room, business lounge, and a well-equipped playroom for children. There's also an events pavilion where residents can hold private events and celebrate special occasions. The crowning glory of the Velaris Residences is the Sky Club, which is located at the highest level of the tower. The Sky Club offers an exclusive suite of interconnected club-like facilities such as the game room, the cards and wine room, and exclusive dining spaces suitable for entertaining friends and family in style. The Sky Club also features the Sky Deck, where residents can enjoy a panoramic view of the surrounding city, and the Sky Bar, where residents can relax with their cocktail of choice whenever they please. RHK Land adheres to the highest standards of design and excellence, and that is why we work with the best to give our residents the best. These are our partners in creating the masterpiece that is the Valeris Residences. Thank you for your time. Allow me to turn over the screen to our sales head, Eric Young, to wrap up our presentation.
Thank you, Mike and Camille, for the detailed brief on the Velaris Residences. Before we end the presentation, I would like to share with you the 6 takeaways to remember about the project. First of all, it is important to note that the Velaris Residences is the landmark project of 2 strong developers, namely Hong Kong Land and RLC. The strength and expertise of both developers make it possible for the Velaris Residences to be excellent in many areas, particularly in design and innovation. Second, the Velaris Residences has an outstanding location at the center of Metro Manila. It has 3 access points: C5 Road, Ortigas Extension Avenue, and Amang Rodriguez Avenue, making it highly accessible to the CBDs of Bonifacio Global City and Ortigas Center. It enjoys the distinction and convenience of being situated near prominent landmarks, commercial centers, educational institutions, and places of worship. Third, the Velaris Residences is located at the heart of Bridgetown and enjoys the facilities which is an expertly master-planned destination estate. Fourth, the Velaris Residences offers masterfully designed units that comes with premium finishes, premium fixtures, and smart home essentials. Fifth, the Velaris Residences offers club-like facilities and a wide range of state-of-the-art amenities. Bigger unit comes with private lift lobbies, offering privacy, luxury, and convenience. And last but not the least, the Velaris Residences will have world-class property management that will harness both the strength of Hong Kong Land and RLC. For keen investors who recognize value, I am certain that they would not pass up the golden opportunity to invest in the Velaris Residences. In view of this, I am very happy to announce to our audience today that RHK Land is giving special discount exclusively for the attendees of this online event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric, Mike, and Camille, for sharing information about the Velaris Residences. For those who want to know more about the project, please feel free to send in your questions in the chat box of your Zoom app. Our sales team will be answering select questions from the audience in our Q&A towards the end of the event. We now move on to today's highlight. I am sure that many of you are seeking clarity when it comes to real estate opportunities in the Philippines at this time. Since December, we have been reading about an economic rebound in 2021. But what does that mean for us? Where do the opportunities lie? These are some of the questions that Sheila Lobien will be tackling in her talk, Philippine Real Estate Opportunities in a Post-Pandemic World. Just a bit of a backgrounder on our speaker, Sheila Lobien. Sheila Lobien is currently the Chief Executive Officer and the main force in putting up Lobien Realty Group Incorporated, which is a full-service real estate consultancy and property investment strategy firm engaged in commercial and office space leasing, capital investments optimization, property acquisition, and sales. Prior to Lobien Realty Group, Sheila was a regional director and head of project leasing of a Fortune 500 property consulting firm. She was also a general manager of Regis Manila and was one of the individuals who spearheaded Regis' then novel concept of co-working and plug-and-play office space in the early 2000s. Sheila advocates women empowerment and currently chairs the Women in Business Committee of the European Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, whose key activities provide an avenue for mentoring, networking, and other social activities geared towards uplifting women professionals in the Philippines. Sheila graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Tourism degree from the University of the Philippines in Diliman, Quezon City. She also took up Management Development Program at the Asian Institute of Management. Moreover, she took up Master of Business Management at the University of the Philippines in Manila, Management Executive Program at National University of Singapore, and INSEAD Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please allow me to turn over the screen to our main speaker, Sheila Lobien.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Martha, for the generous introduction. I hope everyone's healthy and safe wherever you are today, whether you're here in Manila or out of the country. I just wish everyone is safe and healthy. So very honored and happy to be here to give you an update about what's going on in the real estate market. Opportunities post-pandemic. We're still in the pandemic world, and up to today, we don't know when we will have the vaccine, but there are a lot of opportunities, and I'd like to talk to you about that. I'd like to look at the positive things in life and, of course, what's happening around us. So let me start first by sharing my slide. So the Philippine demographic window has shared. I'll be talking about what's going on in the Philippine real estate market, BPO industry. Again, there is a strong, well, it's not really strong, but they are still growing, which is good news. I'll also talk to you about what's going on in the residential market briefly, and then give you our near-term and then long-term expectation in the end. And happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding my presentation afterwards. So the first slide, the demographic window. I love to show this because a lot of companies, they come here in the Philippines because of this. If you look at that, 110 million people, very young, 25 years old, and almost everyone can speak English. Almost half of us are in the labor force. Literacy rate is also very high. Employment rate, of course, it's not that stable at the moment, but still at 91%, it's high. GDP growth rate, the forecast is that this year will be back at the 6.6% level, which is good news. Yes, we went down last year, and that's understandable because of what's going on in the global economy. But despite what's going on, the good news is a lot of economic managers out there are saying that we will be able to recover. So look at this demographic window. This is the sweet spot. And I love to share this because a lot of big firms who are here in the Philippines right now have recognized the fact that our biggest advantage, of course, is the talent, the Filipinos that we have here in the country. And that's why they're staying, and that's why they are still growing here in the Philippines. So let's look at the COVID-19, the effect of this in the, of course, Philippine market. As you can see, in our history, the Philippines is always affected with what's going on in the political, environmental, and the global market. And you'll note that in the Asian financial crisis, we've seen the dip in the global financial crisis as well. And SARS, however, we didn't really feel that. Today is a combination of both, economic and health crisis. And it's a pandemic. Everyone's feeling the hardship about what's happening now. But the good news is, it's almost a year from the time that we had the lockdown in, was that March 16? Almost a year. So we know now what to do. We know now the protocols. And somehow, yes, there are improvements that we are seeing on the ground. And, these are some of the key economic indicators from the trading economics. When you look at the GDP, they're saying that in the next 12 months, we'll be able to bounce back. Of course, not at the pre-pandemic levels, but at least at the 6% level again. The OFW remittances, that's very big, and it's one of the big pillars of the Philippine economy. I don't know, 30 plus billion US dollars coming in every year here in the country, being flushed in the economy. And it's improving as well. Employment rate, though it went down last year, slowly moving up, and hopefully it will be back at the 90% levels this year and by next year. When you also look at the Philippine Stock Exchange Index, it is improving right now. That means there is confidence. The private sectors are back again. They want to bounce back. We've been hearing a lot of this bounce back thing all over. A lot of business groups are talking about propping up the economy. And the PSE stock market is a very good indicator that the companies now, they know what to do and they're rearing to bounce back. Now, us in the Lobien Realty Group in the real estate market, we look at these four indicators. So GDP from construction. Of course, the last few years, we've seen so high, the GDP from construction was really high. That was because of the growth in the BPO, the gaming industry, and so many other industries have grown here in the Philippines. Construction-wise, it was a boom. The last 10 years prior, the pandemic was really awesome. Big developers such as Robinson's Land and the others have invested a lot in the real estate market, building hotels, malls, shopping centers, offices, not just here in the metro, but outside the metro. When you look at the building permits, of course, it went down during the lockdown because people cannot move, they cannot construct. However, it is expected to move up again in the next 12 months. Same with the real estate loans. We're closely monitoring this real estate loans coming from the residential, that the individuals and commercial companies who are taking loans to build projects. It is also moving up and slowly increasing. And the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas have also increased the threshold from 20% now to 25%. That 5% alone is a lot of money, 1.2 trillion pesos, heavily focused on the property market. And that's good news for us. That means people who have good credit rating, of course, can borrow money from the bank. Companies can borrow money from the bank and invest in the real estate market. The interest rate as well is, of course, now it's down. The government is trying to put it down to help people bounce back, to help companies, of course, bounce back. But then it's not that easy to get loans because the banks are also tightening and making sure that they're doing their due diligence. They're also very strict at the moment. Now, this is another good news from the S&P Global, a US-based credit rating agency. And what they're saying is that this year, look at that, will be second in terms of growth after Vietnam at what, 6.6 something percent. Oh no, higher, 9. And next year, they're saying that in 2022, we will be the first, followed by Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia. These are all good news to me, and I hope they really happen. And S&P is a reputable agency. I'm sure they have data. This is backed up by information. That's why they're saying this. They published this a month ago. But this is our analysis, us in the Lobien Realty Group. Of course, we're very cautious and we know what's going on in the market. We're out there in the ground talking to a lot of multinational companies, individuals, high net worth individuals who, of course, have a good grasp of what's going on in the market. And we put this together, the crisis that we've experienced in the past, the Asian financial crisis. I was still in school back then. And then the global financial crisis in 2008, which I have experienced. I was already in the real estate market at that time. And of course, today, the 2020 pandemic, COVID-19. So if you look at Asian financial crisis, the interest rates went down, the OFW remittances was very stable. Unemployment rate, of course, also went down. The GDP was also okay, stable in a way. Now, the global financial crisis, we've seen that in 2008. We felt that here in the Philippines in 2009, but it was short. And I would say after that, 2009 up to 2019, it was the start of the boom of the BPO, the outsourcing industry. Big companies such as you name it, all the big banks, Citibank, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, big insurance firms have started to put up shop here in the Philippines. And today we have almost all the big brands here in the country, the likes of Google, Facebook, etc. They all have an office now here in the Philippines. Their back office is here, their outsourcing business is here in the Philippines. 2020 is, as I've said, is a combination of health and economic crisis, and it's very severe. And that's why the dip was so low. We've seen unprecedented, hardship all over the world. And that's why we are saying that, yes, we will recover. We have to be cautious, but we don't think that we will be back at the pre-pandemic stage right away we're in. We're seeing 7% growth rate, and everything was rosy and everything was booming. This is a combination of so many things. The government also has to address the current COVID-19. The vaccine is still being rolled out, and we don't know when everyone will be vaccinated. So now let's go deeply and talk about the office market outlook. I have shared that it's always, I think up to now, of course, it's the best indicator of a growing economy, because when office spaces are built and taken, then that means companies are expanding, jobs are being created in the market. And when there are, of course, jobs out there, Filipinos have money to spend that will fuel the whole economy. They'll eat out, they'll buy properties eventually. So this is the GDP growth rate versus rental rate. And what I just like to highlight here is that the rental rate, of course, is always affected with what's going on in the market, in the economy. So the Asian financial crisis and global financial crisis, we've seen the biggest decline in rental. And as shared from 2009 up to 2019, it's a steady increase, 5-6% escalation annually. Average rental right now is above 1,000 pesos per square meter. We have a very huge office market here in the Philippines, bigger than some parts of the first world countries, bigger than some cities in the US. So it's a known office market already. We're not just a small market when it comes to the office sector here in the Philippines. Vacancy rate, 11%. It's double digit now. It used to be just at 5%. The double in the vacancy rate was due to the fact that Chinese gaming operators have left the country because of so many issues last year. And at the same time, there's travel ban. They also cannot expand. And so many have exited the country. But the BPO industry, the call centers, the outsourcing industry, they are still here and they are occupying the offices that we have all over the metro. And the rental rate is still at the 1,100 pesos per square meter. It is still high, but of course, it has went down from 1,160 pesos a year ago. Now, average rent all over the metro, I'd like to emphasize that bulk of the office transactions are happening within Metro Manila. And Velaris, they are concentrated, struggling, they are between Pasig and Quezon City. And as mentioned earlier, they are right smack in the action. Now, you'll notice here that Makati and BGC are still the ones enjoying the highest rental rate. And they've seen also the highest decline because some companies are having a hybrid operation right now. People are working from home, some are working in the office. But Bay Area, because bulk of the operators there are mostly the Chinese gaming operators, they've seen the highest decline, and rental rates also have gone down. What's good to note in this slide is that land value range is consistent and it is still growing or moving up, primarily because land is finite and many big developers such as Robinson's Land, they've been land banking, buying properties left and right. So that's the same for other developers. And that's why, the land values have not gone down. Yes, you can probably hear of good deals here and there, but the prime properties are still holding on to that price per square meter. Now, where are the demands coming from? You might have heard of the call center, the gaming, etc. So this is the mix. So bulk of the transaction right now, last year actually, the highest came from, well, if you look at the industry, of course, the BPO, the outsourcing industry, the call center, and then very small right now, the gaming industry, it is cut by half. Others would be typical companies, the brick and mortar companies who are using office spaces here in the country. Now, the BPO industry, I'd like to emphasize this because in Bridgetown, a lot of big players, a lot of big BPOs are already located there. And it's a 28 billion US dollar industry, one of the biggest pillar of the Philippine economy, with 1.8 million full-time employees right now, and they are still projecting growth. And this year, they have announced that they will still grow by 3-4% in a declining, in a world where people are cost cutting and not moving. At least in the BPO industry, they still see growth. It was not as high compared to 3-4 years ago when they were saying that they can grow at 8-12%. Today, it's just at 3 or 4%, but it's still growth, and any growth is a good news, right? That means they will still employ, they will still need real estate, they will spend, and they will invest here in the country. So this is the forecast that they have run, and the bulk of them are still saying that they see growth. 33% only said flat, and then very small said they will reduce. So those who are servicing the airline industry, of course, they were heavily hit. But otherwise, the IT industry, the healthcare industry, those industries are still growing right now. And the Philippines is the number one when it comes to call center voice work. And then number two when it comes to non-voice, the higher value work, the engineering work, animation, etc. India is leading the way in that aspect. But Philippines is the number two, which is very, very good for us. This is what I have mentioned earlier already. The BPO industry, 1.8 million Filipinos employed there directly, but indirectly, there are also a lot. And they are still forecasting growth. Some of the BPO or outsourcing industry in the Philippines right now, Makati, Taguig, Pasig, these are all known brands, HSBC, JP Morgan, Merck's, Shell, etc. All of these are multinational firms, Fortune 500, most of them. In Quezon City, Bay Area, Alabang, again, just showing you some slide. Healthcare company, Manulife, ANZ, Sutherland, Convergys, these are all popular brands, BPO companies who are already here in the Philippines, employing thousands of Filipinos all over the metro and outside the Metro Manila. So the top BPO location. So I'd like to show this because it will tell you how many BPO employees now per city. And of course, Makati is the oldest CBD and the most mature. And in the beginning, it was just really Makati. That's why a lot of companies, when they entered the Philippines, they want to have a shop in Makati. But today, it's a different story. We have a lot of CBDs, primarily because of the growth in the BPO industry. And many developers have invested in mixed-use projects. Robinson's Land, again, is one of them. They have mixed-use projects all over the country. And if you look at this, Quezon City and Pasig combined will give you the highest concentration of BPO employees. And that's where Velaris, the project that they are actually highlighting right now, is located. So imagine that a lot of employees are there, a lot of big companies are there. Many high-end residential subdivisions are also located near the current project of RHK. And schools are also in that area, big schools, the likes of course, Ateneo, UP Diliman, etc., are concentrated in the northern part of Manila. Now let's go briefly talk about the residential market. And I know our RHK team here, they know more about this, but this is just an overview. Annual supply last year, around 25,000 square meters, and the take-up was more than that. This is good news. 2021 forecast, though, 24,000 square meters will be out this year, and it is expected, no? And we want this to happen. The take-up will be more than that, 36,000 square meters. And then looking at the pie, pre-selling price range, what's saleable, what's in demand in a way. Bulk of them are looking at the mid-range, I can't see 5 million or 7 million range. That's the biggest pie. And then above 15 million and above would be around 40%. And very few are looking at the 7 million range. And the project right now is in the high-end mid-market range. Now, given the current scenario post-pandemic, what do we see? And what do we see now? We're still in the pandemic situation, and what people have realized is that they want to be in a location that's healthy, safe, with good ventilation. And the project right now have addressed that. So moving forward, we will see a lot of townships. It's been there, it's been growing in the last 10 years. Many developers and companies and people have realized that it's good to live in an area wherein everything is like within your arm's reach. You work, live, and play in one area, and having your office near your home would be very good because it will lessen your commute and your exposure. And your, of course, exposure. You don't want to travel far. If you're just an employee who do not have a car, then it's best that you can walk from your home to the office. And developments inside CBD right now, they're addressing that need. Now, the condo developers also are responding to this new dynamics. You realize that when you were in that lockdown, when you were in a 20 square meter space and locked there for what, 3 4 months, you might go crazy. You go crazy, you can't even go out and use the facility. So right now, all the more that an open area, a condo wherein there is a lot of bright light, natural air can come in, natural ventilation can come in, sanitation can happen, because of the light, the sunlight that can come in. Those things will be more and more important. And the property management of the building will also be very important. Buyers will look at that, how the facility is being managed. Is it safe? Is the area safe? Do you have a lot of open facility, an area that natural light can come in, natural air can come in? All these things are happening right now. So the new normal, I've always said this, should be business as usual. It's very hard right now, the job of many CEOs out there, to balance the health and the economic situation. You have to look at those things, right? The company has to move on. The people, they also have to be healthy. And so I always say that the Philippines is already in a very, very good situation. Yes, there are so many things that still has to happen. But when you look at the rental rates, the real estate, it's cost competitive. The talent that we have here is also cost competitive. Very talented Filipinos, high literacy rate, as I have explained earlier. We have a credible rating, stable credit rating. The employees that we have, they're world class. Many BPOs have said that. Yes, of course, we need to improve the talent and the educational system of the country so that we can attract more and more companies to invest here. But so far, things are happening, but we still miss something. And what is that? I always say that we need to support the Build, Build, Build project. These are the things that we need so that the country will be more attractive. Big players, big developers, investors outside the Philippines look at all these things. So we have to have these airports, railways, and now it's slowly happening. And I'm happy to see this. And I hope, I've been saying this, I hope that my kids can see this in their lifetime. If I can't, I hope they'll see this. I want to be like Singapore, like Hong Kong, wherein you can travel from one place to another, not using your own car, just using the public transportation. How nice is that, right? We can't do that yet here in the Philippines. Most of us use our own vehicle. But in a first world country, you can just use the trains, the MRTs, right? And we want that to happen here in the country as well. So the beauty of the project that they are highlighting here is that it's benefiting from all these infrastructure projects that will happening now and will happen in the future. This Bonifacio Global City Ortigas link bridge, the connection between North Luzon Expressway and South Luzon, the Skyway 3, MRT 4, C5, whatever. So many things going on, and they are happening. Some of the projects some are already done, some are underway, some are being approved. So if you want to know more about this, you can just check the DPWH website, and you can closely see and monitor what's happening in the many projects of the government right now. And that's good news for you guys, because I'm sure you're looking at investing in a property right now. Now, this is the Velaris project. They have shared a lot about the property already. Look at the map, look at the location. As shared, what I like about this is that it's in that developing area. So they probably will discuss the pricing to you. However, from a real estate standpoint, because we look and monitor at the prices of land, prices of condominiums, the Velaris Residences has a very attractive price per square meter right now, simply because they're looking at a long-term, of course, long-term development. The area right now is a progressive area. There are so many things going on there, and that's why the price per square meter is very attractive and competitive, I should say. So this is the location. It's right smack in the middle of Bridgetown development, where many BPOs and buildings, offices are currently operational right now. And the checklist, the good location checklist, I'd like to share this because I think the project has checked everything that you have here. This is a checklist of a BPO company or an investor when they look at certain location. They look at all these things and they should check all the boxes. So hopefully we'll have a very nice international airport soon, something that will make us proud, something like you have in the first world country. And with that, I'd like to give you my near-term expectation just to briefly summarize what I have shared. As said, many POGOs, the Chinese gaming industry, have exited the country. And also with the travel ban, they cannot expand. The BPO industry is still here and they are still expecting growth. And I think it's not a trend because companies, when they experience hardship, they need to cut costs. And cutting costs means outsourcing some of the work that you can, right? If you're not an expert on this, you can outsource that. And the Philippines is benefiting from that. We're known as the number one voice call center country. We're also known as the number two when it comes to non-voice. So we will see growth in that aspect. I hope it happens soon. I hope it happens faster than what's currently going on right now. But again, the vaccine has to help us, right? And while it's not there, of course, the confidence in the market will not be back right away. And then the the Build project has to continue. Township developments, they're happening all over to pandemic proof the operation so that when, let's say, an operation in Manila is stopped, they can still continue in the provincial area, in the nearby towns. And that's why the nearby towns are also growing. Outside, the nearest would be Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, and then going north, Bulacan, Pampanga, and all the way to Tarlac. House and lot and high-end condominiums, as shared, will be more in demand because people now realize that it's not safe and healthy to be in a very small unit with no fresh air that can come inside your space. So more and more people are looking at having either their own house or a high-end condo project wherein they can have this natural ventilation to happen. And e-commerce, I did not say a lot about this. It's growing because of the growth in, people are buying things online now, and therefore e-commerce have experienced this boom also. And the warehousing logistics market in the Philippines is also growing today because of this. And midterm to long term, definitely people will, as I've mentioned, mobility has to happen, and condominiums in the heart of the CBD will always do well because people would like to live where they work. In an area, you can live, work, and play in one area, lessen your commute, lessen your exposure to the virus. And outside Metro Manila, the mixed-use project will continue to grow. The Build project, I think we have started that. It has to continue, it has to go on so that the Philippines will be more and more attractive. We need that. The attractiveness rating of the country has to improve. Our internet connection, the telecommunication infrastructure of the country, still, we need to do a lot of work there, and glad that the current administration and a lot of private sectors are looking at that as well. And the credit from the financial institution, of course, it's expected to be less stringent when the economy reopens, hopefully reopens faster, and the vaccine started to be, rolled out all over. We're still having a hard time there in rolling out the vaccine. And finally, the house and lot market, high-end condominiums, it's gonna be, the way forward. Since this pandemic is mind-changing, people have a new view of what's gonna happen and how they should decide moving forward and live moving forward. So many of you right now might ask, why invest now when there is this pandemic and so many things going on? So I'll give you first this slide, my favorite slide actually from Warren Buffett, one of the most admired investors out there, and up to today, he is highly respected. He said, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful. He also said that only buy something that you'd be perfectly happy to hold if the market shuts down for 10 years. And I hope it won't happen. But yeah, the point is, why invest now? If you have cash, if you have money, it's better to put it in the real estate market than putting it in the bank, because of course, real estate will be there. The land will always be there. You'll enjoy the land value appreciation. You'll also, if you love the property, you'll be happy to have it no matter what happens in the market. pwede mong ipamana, you can give it to your children, you can give it to your loved ones, right? So it's something tangible, it's something that will grow over time, and it's a long-term play. That's why if you will invest in this project, look at it over 10, 15-year horizon. And definitely when that time comes, all these developments will be all around the area already. 10 years is actually far. I think it's going to happen faster than that with all the developments that's moving forward, going north right now. And with that, you may follow us online, check our website to know more about what's going on in the real estate market. Happy to answer any questions that you have regarding my presentation and regarding investment on the real estate market. Thank you. That's the team. Okay.
Thank you very much, Sheila, for that very insightful presentation. I learned a lot, and I feel even more optimistic about 2021 here in the Philippines. Now, for our audience, if you have a question for Sheila, please feel free to send in your questions now by sending a message in the chat box of your Zoom app. We will now proceed with the question and answer segment. Ken Lizardo, Training Director of IQI Caliber Real Estate Firm, will be our moderator for this segment and will be joining Sheila on screen. Eric Young, RHK Land Head of Sales, will also be joining the discussion. Hi, Ken. Welcome to our online event. Eric, welcome back.
Thank you, Martha. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Velaris Residences award-winning showroom. We're actually here right now, and I'm excited to actually talk about the things that we've discussed already. And you know, there's a lot of exciting things that Sheila actually mentioned to us. And I'd like to know, of course, with Eric's help and as well as Sheila, what does this mean for the people who are listening, especially to those who are actually thinking of, okay, maybe it's time for me to invest, but maybe it's really time for me to get into this road of being able to take advantage of what's happening today. So we do have some questions right now, but I'm hoping that those of you who are watching, please feel free to ask your questions. We do have a Q&A function in your Zoom app. Please make sure to ask those questions, use the Q&A function in your Zoom app, and we would be happy to answer them. No, actually, Eric and Sheila would be happy to answer them. I'm just gonna read them to you, all right? So let's start this Q&A off with something more simple. Maybe this can be directed to Sheila. And the question that I personally have is, and I'm sure this is one of the things that a lot of people are thinking of right now, and it's especially the brokers now who are watching, some of them are also watching right now. What do investors normally look for in pre-selling properties? Sheila? Oh, Sheila, you're mute just in case. Yes, we want to hear all the great information you have to say. Go ahead.
I said, that was a very good question. And I also invested a lot in the real estate property, of course, in the property market, but where my mouth is, right? My money where my mouth is. So that question, when you're looking at investing in pre-selling project like this, as I've said, it's a long-term play. So you have to look at it, not at what, don't base your decision based on what you see right now in the area, because it's a developing area. But look at the potential, what's going to happen 5 years, 10 years down the road. And of course, you look at the project, owners as well, the developers. It's a combination of Robinson's Land, a well-respected developer in the country who are in not just in the real estate business, but in in other industries as well. And at the same time, they have, of course, the support of Hong Kong Land, an expert in what they do, quite active in Hong Kong, Singapore, and several parts of Asia. And they're known for quality projects. So it's a combination of those two. So it's so good because you have those the developer side and again the location. So you look at that, plus of course the terms, the pricing, the rates right now. And I'm sure the team here will be able to discuss that with you if you're so keen to look at that in details. But I just look at that, the value over time, the property, I know it will appreciate, but I look at what's going on also in the surrounding area. And you will see it when you go there. There are so many projects happening. All the high-end residential areas are also nearby. A lot of investments are happening in that corridor, in the C5 corridor. So you won't go wrong just by looking at what's going on right now in that area.
Awesome, great. Actually, you mentioned earlier towards the end of your presentation that investment or the trend is heading north. And right now you're mentioning that it has a lot to do with the C5 corridor. So maybe a question that I want to follow, just to follow up with what you just mentioned now is, why should people invest in the C5 corridor? Because there's been a lot of buzz. Maybe some people are hearing that buzz, but are not quite sure why. Could you, maybe you could explain that to them?
Well, I shared the price point, no, the selling price right now of the Velaris is still at that very competitive rate, given the quality of the project that they have, and that is already attractive for me because it's I would say an area that has a lot of potential. Because if you go, I'm not against the other CBD, but if you have the money, of course, you can invest in that area. But the land price and the condominium price per square meter is already high. So the upside might not be too high, right? If you wait 5, 10 years down the road. Now, potential for this area, C5, the Bridgetown, is that the price is still quite attractive. So looking at the potential, the growth that it can still have in the next few years, then you'll your return will be higher. And the quality of the project, like what I have said, for the price that they're offering, the quality of the project is really amazing. So if you're familiar with the high-end projects like the One Rojas Triangle, Two Rojas, so imagine that, but not in Makati, in C5, Bridgetown, Ortigas, or Pasig, Quezon City side. So that's great. That's why I said, it's if you're looking for a higher return over time, then that is a project that you can consider.
Awesome. And I think, Eric, no, I don't think this is an accident that you actually they decided to put the Velaris Residences exactly where we are right now. It's not an accident. So it's like, my question is, why do you think, given everything, all the information that Sheila mentioned, why do you think the Velaris Residence is the project to invest in today?
Ken, as I've mentioned earlier, the Velaris Residences is the landmark project of two strong developers. The Velaris Residences has an outstanding location at the center of Metro Manila. The project is located at the heart of Bridgetown and enjoys the facilities of this new destination estate. The Velaris Residences offers masterfully designed units that comes with premium finishes, fixtures, and smart home essentials. The Velaris Residences offers club-like facilities and wide range of state-of-the-art amenities. And again, last but not the least, the Velaris Residences will have world-class property management.
And actually, I got to experience that firsthand via the showroom, this award-winning showroom. If you want to see how it's going to look like, how your investment is going to look like, make sure to just come to the Velaris showroom. All you have to do is just go to Google Maps or Waze. You can't miss it. It's just amazing. I've been to a lot of showrooms, and I can tell you that this is definitely one of the best showrooms that I have ever been a part, I've ever set foot on. And I love the fact that you have already foreseen, where the trend is, and that you're writing into it. Actually, we do have a question from one of our viewers, and this is to Sheila. Maybe this will also give us, some sort of enlightenment as to where we should put our money, our investment, and later on. And the question is this: will the upcoming elections also play a big part in property market? What if a new administration stops the build programs? What now? That's actually a real question. Sheila, please do enlighten us.
Very good question, no? Well, politics, of course, what's happening what's happening around us always affects what's going to happen in the prices of land, etc., etc. But I don't have the slide and was not able to share it. What's good about the Philippines is that we have a very resilient real estate market. And despite all the calamities, despite all the tragedies before, the precedents, that we have had in the past, what's constant is that the land prices and the rental rates and the growth in the BPO industry, they have all steadily moved up parang it's like, despite and in spite of what's going on in the political scene, the real estate market have continuously grown, over time. And that's because I think, number one, the talent that we have here, as shared, a lot of companies have invested here in the Philippines, primarily because of the talent. They're able to grow the business. The private sectors, developers such as Robinson's Land and many others have also developed office projects left and right, all over the metro, all over the Philippines. And that's why it was, the BPO industry have grown from, where it is now. No, if you compare it, 20 years ago, it's nothing. Today we're so big. And I think it's gonna continue, no matter what happens there. Of course, unless it's a, World War II or whatever, World War whatever, right? But my point is, whoever will sit there will look at continuing the build project, because we need it. It's high time for us now to invest and really focus on developing the infrastructure that we have here in the country, because we're somehow late in the games. Other Asian neighbors are already moving up. Vietnam is moving up already, and several others. We really need to focus on that. And the private sector is also focusing on this, not just the government. A lot of private sectors, investors are investing and looking at the so many infrastructure projects here in the country. So I think it will continue no matter what, whoever sits there, whoever will be the president. It's bound to happen. The developments, all these things, they have to move forward. I don't think someone will stop it. It's for the good of everyone.
Yes, and to the future president and the future officials of our country, I hope you're watching.
I'm sure it will continue. It has to. It has to. The
And it
people
does have
want
to.
it, right?
And it's showing with the growth. You mentioned that the growth is steadily going up. And actually, ang ganda ng mga questions ng mga viewers natin ngayon. This is a good follow-up on what you're doing now. And question number two, or what you just mentioned rather, question number two is, they're asking, given the current state of our economy, how much room is left for capital appreciation in the next 5 years, Sheila?
I can't say the exact number, but what I can say is that it's going to be more, because this is a pandemic, and many developers have actually, they have sweet deals right now, right? They're giving very good payment terms, extending reservation deposits, extending the payment terms, making it so easy for someone who has cash out there to really invest in the property market. If you look at the monthly terms that they will explain probably later, if you want a one-on-one with them, the amount is so you can easily chew it. That's how I'd put it, right? That money, you spend that in buying so many things in a month, right? We were discussing with Eric when I visited the showroom a week ago, and was saying, like, you spend what, 40,000 easily a month by buying so many things online. The monthly deposit or monthly, I don't know how you call it, that you will have to pay to reserve the smallest unit there is less than that. So it's no brainer, right? It's easy to make a decision when it's like that. And pandemic, as I've said, so many opportunities there. This is the best time to actually take advantage also. But we want a win-win deal here, right? The developer, Robinson's Hong Kong Land, they're very much, of course, they really want to, of course, sell the property, sell the project. And you, I'm sure, all the investors who are listening right now, you want a very good deal, right? You have the money, you want to take this opportunity to get the best deal possible out there. And so this is the best time to actually think seriously on what property to buy, where to buy, and why you should buy it. In 2008, no, global financial crisis, I'll share my experience, because at that time, of course, it was not the same because there's a health issue here. But the economy was also very bad all over the world, the US market then, and it has affected us as well, the BPO industry. But people who have invested in 2009 in the property market are very happy right now, because at that time land value was also down, prices of properties down, but many well, courageous people, or those who know that the real estate market is the best way to invest and put your property and money in, because those people who have invested at that time are very happy right now. The investments that they've made have appreciated easily 5 times if you bought a property at that time. So look at this situation the same as that as well. Of course, there is this health issue, but it's being addressed now. The whole world is working on addressing the COVID-19 virus, and this is a property, no, it's something tangible. As I've shared, you hold on to it, you wait for it, forget about it. After what, 5-10 years, it's there. You can rent it out, you can use it, you can live there, can give it to your children. There are so many things to be done, no, and you won't go wrong. So that's my long answer for that
Great.
question.
Yes. Thank you, Sheila. Actually, we have another question from our viewers, and you mentioned in this in your one of the last things that you said was you were talking about the international market, right? And so the question that our viewers have, number 3, is the top 3 CBDs already has a healthy pool of secondary market buyers, such as foreigners, executives of BPOs nearby, etc. In your expert opinion, in the future, who will be the buyers in the secondary market? And what do you think will their reason be? In BGC, foreigners love the place. What would be C5's big why? So a couple of questions there. Go ahead, Sheila.
I hope by that time, the market will be open again and so many people will come in and invest. If your intention is to flip the property, I think you can easily do so by then. There are a lot of wealthy families, wealthy Filipinos here in the country. And the property, the development, the quality of the project, I think would be an easy sell. Looking at how it is built, how it is done, taking into consideration that they are after the welfare of the people who will live and use the place. So those things, I think, are good indicator that if you want to flip it in the future, you can easily do so. Your market can be foreigners, people who are working in the area, and there are a lot of BPO operators who are concentrated in Quezon City and Pasig area. And I've shown you that slide in terms of number of seats. When you combine those, they will be the highest in terms of number of employees and number of concentration of companies in the area. Nearby, if you look look at the surrounding of the area, all the high-end residential villages are actually in there. So to name a few, Corinthian, Valle Verde, etc. And those are wealthy Filipino families. I'm sure they can easily look at the property. If you want to sell it, I don't know, 10, 15 years down the road, you can easily flip it. And if not, you can just use it, rent it out. There will be that rental market in the area because BPO operators are there, and for sure there will be other industries that will come in the future. So that's how I look at it. If you just want to flip it in the future, the property price right now is quite attractive. I'd say it's low, comparing it to, of course, the BGC Makati projects. But the quality is like those high-end projects that you find in Makati and in other well, you said it, attractive business location. So that's how I look at it. And it's a long-term play. 10, 15 years is, that's how I'd look at it, the development in that area. BGC 15 years ago was not like that, but look at it today. If you invested or bought a property there in 2008 or earlier than that, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Whether you bought a land or you bought just a condominium, it's a different story right now. So look at it that way also. If you'll invest in this location, look at that horizon 10, 15 years down the road.
Right, that's right. And I'm sure that there's some, the best or the experienced investors know exactly what you're talking about, right? But Eric and I have always been talking about this, about the Velaris Residences, how the payment terms and even the price is so competitive and it's so appealing to first-time investors, right, Eric? And actually, I'd like to find out what Sheila thinks. Maybe there are some people here watching this webinar right now. Maybe you're thinking about having your first investment, putting money into your first investment, and you're just not quite sure. You're on the fence, but you're not quite sure. Sheila, what is your recommendation to our first-time investors?
Mhm. The first time that they'll put money in the real estate market, I have to love the project or I have to love the location. So that's me. I have to feel it, right? I would usually go and check the area and then I'd feel it from there. And then I'll check, of course, what's happening in the surrounding. So, and of course, like what I have initially mentioned, you have to look at the developer, the credibility of the developer, their track record, the people behind the project. If it's a condominium, the people behind the project. That's how I'd look at it, and of course the price as well. You compare it with other projects that you have outside, and you'll easily be able to make a good decision. Look at the price, the finish, the quality, if you're looking at a condominium, and the location and the developer.
So, and to those of you who are watching who are wondering if, okay, maybe this is the right time to have my first real estate investment. And Sheila's talking about the developer. Guys, RHK Land is definitely a developer that you can count on based on track record. So if you're going to invest, now is the time to invest. But maybe you're wondering, why is now the time to invest? Sheila, maybe this might be my last question for you, and then I'll have a question for Eric, which is, I'm sure, my question for you, Eric, is something that everyone wants to
He'll
find
give you
out.
the
But Sheila, before
discount,
that,
Eric.
but my last question for you, Sheila, is given this current pandemic, we've been talking about investing now, right? But is now really the best time to invest, even with what's happening in the world today with the pandemic?
I always say no, it's now is the best time because there's pandemic out there, and that's why landlords, developers are giving very sweet, attractive deals at the moment. And as investor, should take advantage of that. And if you have the money, cash is king. In times like this, cash is king. And you know that when you have the money, you can get the best terms. And they're very enticed to do a deal with you. If you're interested, I'm sure you can cut a very good deal. The project is there. The location, I think, is right. The developer, the finish, everything. I think you just have to make that decision. Talk to, of course, the experts, do those who can give you the discount, and that's Eric, not me. But that's my viewpoint. It is the best time because it's pandemic, and you won't invest if you don't have money. Of course, I'm talking to you guys because you have or you have that inkling, that idea to put your money right now somewhere wherein it will grow over time. And if that's your thought process, then this is a good option for you. Now, if you don't have the money, I won't advise you to put it somewhere, right? Of course, you have to address the basic needs first: food, shelter, education, all those things. But I'm sure you have addressed the basic needs, and that's why you're here talking to the RHK group, because you have the money to spend to put in the property market. And cash is king, so you know what I'm talking about. Talk to Eric if you have the cash.
So, you know what? Thank you, Sheila. Let's talk to Eric right now to be able to address exactly what Sheila is talking about, which is, Eric, so ito na. What I want to ask is, I'm sure there are some people right now who are like, okay, their hands are basically inside their pocket, but they're not pulling out their wallets or their credit cards, right? If someone is interested to purchase a unit at the Velaris Residences, how should they go about it?
Okay. If you guys already have an RHK accredited broker, please inform them of your interest to learn more about the project. And if you don't have a broker or seller yet, please go to the Velaris Residences official website and leave your information. We will assign an RHK in-house property specialist to assist you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm thinking about, I'm one of those people that are on the fence right now, and I think I'm about to take the plunge. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you. It's been a pleasure learning from both of you. And to all of you who are watching right now, I hope this has been quite insightful for those of you who are planning to invest and trying to see what the country's future is in terms of the real estate industry. So again, my name is Ken Lizardo, the training director of IQI Philippines, and I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you so much. Let's give it back to Martha.
Thank you very much to Sheila, Ken, and all of our speakers for today. Thank you as well to our audience. We do appreciate having all of you in our event today. We hope that you learned a lot. I know I did, and also find what we shared today valuable and insightful. Once again, my name is Martha Herrera Subido. Until our next event, thank you very much.
When we put things together, we make sure it becomes better. It's all about going beyond. We design spaces where you can live your life, enjoying today's modern comforts and tomorrow's unique luxuries. Your home is in the middle of a neighborhood propelled by progress. At the heart of Bridgetown, the destination estate where the passion for life radiates. Live a life beyond compare in a place that inspires victors. The Valeris Residences. Unrivaled.
The Velaris Residences is a 45-story luxury condominium rising at the heart of Bridgetown in Pasig City. It offers unrivaled distinction in all its masterfully designed units and amenities. A joint venture between international property leader Hong Kong Land and Philippine real estate giant Robinsons Land. We believe it's a powerhouse partnership because we're able to combine the design excellence and innovations that Hong Kong Land is known for with the local real estate expertise of Robinsons Land. Hong Kong Land has had a lot of global success. They have many notable projects in Asia, particularly in Beijing, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Among Hong Kong Land's notable projects in the Philippines are premium properties 1 Rojas Triangle and 2 Rojas Triangle in Makati. And in Cebu, they have Mandani Bay, a premium waterfront development. They're very well known when it comes to design excellence and innovations, and they're very confident as well that they can duplicate their global success here in the Philippines through the Velaris Residences. They really consider the functionality as well as the experience, whether it's going to be memorable or impactful for the resident. And the result is really quite extraordinary. The Velaris Residences has a really good location at really prime spot of Bridgetown. It's rising next to a beautiful bridge that's designed by Manyosa and Company, also a Victor statue and a verdant central park that we feel our residents will really enjoy. It has 3 access points, C5 Road, Amang Rodriguez, and Ortigas Avenue. To find out more about the unrivaled distinction of the Velaris Residences, we'd like to invite everyone to visit our beautiful show gallery in Bridgetown. It's right next to Blue Leaf Cosmopolitan, you won't miss it. Or you can also visit our website, thevelarisresidences.com. We're also present in Instagram and Facebook.